I said I wasn't gonna vlog today, and here we are, we're vlogging today. But this is not a day in the life vlog, this is a long-term vlog of showing how I'm working with my developmental editor, because I just got my editor, or as it says on the piece of paper, editorial assessment letter back. Gosh darn it, if I thought I loved this book before, my goodness, I love it even more now. So, like I said, I've been waiting for so long to get this editorial assessment letter back from my editor. There were a few bumps along the way in terms of like scheduling, where just like freak life things were happening that just made it so she couldn't get to my book as soon as she was supposed to. So I'm a little behind on my editing deadline already. Not off to a great start, but I have plans to catch up. So let me first remind you guys how I'm working with my editor. I'm gonna make it quick because I have mentioned it before in past videos. So I have one developmental editor and I'm working with her twice. The first time I send her my manuscript, she's just reading it through and then writing up an editorial assessment and then sending that to me. And it looks at things on a very broad basis. So in the letter, which I have right here, which you guys can't see, but that's supposed to be that way, we have different sections. So we have overview, notes on the plot and structure, notes on the characters, notes on the point of view, notes on the pacing, notes on the world building and description, notes on the theme, the symbolism, and lastly the market, which is like she's just being very specific as to what genre my book fits into, as well as some comp titles, which is very nice to have. So yeah, so I sent it to her and she sent this back to me, and I'm like head over heels in love with this because it gives me a very clear like direction to go in. So now what I'm gonna do is, once I make all these edits and corrections, I'm sending it back to the same editor, and she's going to do a second round of developmental edits, which is your more typical round of developmental edits, where she writes in the document and doing a much more nitty-gritty edit sort of deal. So I have been taking notes, so many notes. So this is the notebook that's dedicated to this novel. I skipped a huge chunk, I don't know why. But anywho, so I have a bunch of notes, and I was just taking notes as I was reading through the document. I was highlighting in the document some of the suggestions she was making, and we're just gonna work from there. So let's talk about the big things that I need to fix in this book. There are a few little things, not a lot of little things. I'm sure that'll come with the second round of edits. But the big things, they're pretty big, and some of them are less surprising than others. So the first big problem is the opening scene. Right now, the opening scene is a very tell rather than show sort of scene. Like I'm just kind of info dumping a little too much, which is something that I was quite aware of, and I had even discussed with my editor before she even read the whole manuscript. And basically it came down to she'd have to read the full manuscript before giving a few suggestions, and the suggestions she had were really good, and I'm very excited about them, so I just have to choose what I want to go with. Number two is that I need to show the arc of one of my side characters more, which is Lori, and she is the best friend of the main character, which is Marley. Now, Lori is great. She actually had a ton of really great things to say about Lori, but really the issue is that she doesn't really have an arc, and there's like one pivotal scene in the story where there's just a missed opportunity, so I need to take advantage of that opportunity, which will kind of give her a nice arc. Which brings us to number three, which is Marley's arc. Marley, our main character. So this book is about grief. Like, she's dealing with the death of her parents. Now, for like 90% of the book, she does not want to deal with those feelings at all. And it isn't until the finale that she finally deals with grief and learns how to do that. But basically that means that her character arc is sort of like this, and then at the very end, boop. So we need to make it a more consistent arc, I guess is what we're saying. Or at least an arc with like ups, downs of her wanting to try and... Or at least arcs of her like wanting to try to overcome her grief and then not wanting to, and then wanting to, not wanting to, and yeah, right now it's just very plain, so we gotta fix that. Number 4 is my love interest in the story. His name is Dylan. I did the classic forgot to give him flaws. So really that's the big issue. So we need to give him flaws. I feel like a big way to give him flaws is to tell more of his backstory, and then also just make him not perfect, because, you know, that's a classic romance trope that no one likes. Problem number 5 is my saggy middle. The middle of my book just kind of falls flat. It's interesting, but because this is more of an emotional journey rather than like physical journey, there's not a whole lot plot-wise happening, so I need to add in external elements to make the plot more interesting. There's a lot of internal elements, because right now everything is internal conflict, but I need to add in a little more external conflict to make it more interesting and make the pacing better. Now there is external conflict right now, but I need to add more of it to spice things up a little bit. Which brings me to the last big problem, which is number 6, adding in a subplot, which I did not see coming. So basically, my editor suggested that I should add in an entire subplot, because if I'm able to add in this entire subplot, which she said I can brainstorm with her, so I might take her up on that. But basically, her idea is that if we add in a subplot, it's another layer to the story, and that subplot will be able to add in those external elements that we're missing to fix those saggy middles, and then also make my main character Marley more interesting, because like I said, the issue is that she doesn't really have a good arc right now, but also I show a lot of her flaws, which makes her extremely relatable, but I don't show a lot of her strengths. So we want to add in a subplot that will show off her strengths and give us a reason to root for her. So yeah, it goes into more detail than that, but these are all the issues that I gotta fix. Yay. Oh, also, I know you can't read it, which is a good thing. But she wrote a really, really good, like, very short description of my book that I want to edit a little and then incorporate into my book blurb for the back of the book. But in case you're wondering what Project Road Trip is all about, Project Road Trip is an intimate tale of grief, finding yourself after deep loss, and coming to terms with how life changes in the least expected moments. It follows Marley, an older teen who travels across America in a VW bus, both running from and towards the emotions she has long held back regarding her parents' death. A deep, insightful look into the coming-of-age theme throughout a heartbreaking narrative. Like, if there were ever anything to describe my book better. Basically, I love everything about this editorial letter. Now, I can't show you everything in the editorial assessment letter because it will have a lot of spoilers, but there are 2 things that I can read off, and also things I'm just excited about. Because they are about the beginning of the book, so it's the stuff that would be revealed in the blurb anyways, and we're all about learning about what Project Road Trip is all about. So, she had some notes on things that she thought were done successfully, and 2 of them were inciting incident and the debate. You create a great inciting incident when Marley is offered the opportunity to travel across the country in the VW van at her family reunion. This worked because it gave Marley the chance to change her static life into something that was both physically and emotionally moving forward. This big step into the unknown gives the reader the promise that the big emotions and big themes are going to be explored through the lens of a character's new experiences. that just made me feel like I was understood. I don't know. And then she also wrote down for the debate section, for Marley, the debate is very clear. Go home and keep putting her head in the sand, or go on a long journey that puts her firmly in the situation of me, myself, and I, where she can't run from her own feelings. You create a great debate section of the book as we see Marley really weighing up her options, and more than that, we see her reluctance to leave her status quo. This helps build up the emotional stakes in the novel, which gets the reader more invested in who she is and the internal battles that she faces. And then the next thing has spoilers in it, so I can't read it to you. But I just also want to keep this for the moments where I'm not feeling so great about it. There are other things, especially the character sections, where she makes some really great notes that just made me feel like I did a good job writing the book, so I know I'll need that someday. But anywhere where you see highlights here are like really good suggestions that she gave me, so I highlighted them so I would know more for later. Brainstorming for a day or two, and I've come up with solutions to my little problems plus my biggest problems. My biggest problems being the subplot, which is basically connecting to everything else that I need to fix. But it's a big subplot, and it's basically adding the element of making my main character Marley realize what she actually wants to do, like, as a career since she dropped out of college, making my love interests more imperfect, which was harder to do than I thought, and correcting the opening scene, which, again, I'm not sure if this is the actual solution, but I like it more than the current opening scene, but I won't really know if I actually like it until my editor sees it. And then a few notes to make my saggy middle more interesting. Wow, that sounds bad. Anywho, right now I've got Campfire Blaze open, which is what I use to outline my novel. So that's the outline right there. So the top line here is the location of the book at the time. The middle line is the beats in the Save the Cat novel, and then the bottom is the chapter by chapter outline. And now I'm going to add a fourth line. Oops. And the fourth line is all the changes I need to make. So I'm going to go through my notebook and add in the changes appropriately where they belong. That way when I get to that chapter, I don't forget to make the changes. I've never done something like this before, but it seems like it's probably the most efficient way to do this. I've made all the updates in the outline. I have 11 new scenes to either add or update old scenes. Most of them are adding in scenes, and some of them, like, I say it's one scene, but like it's an entire chapter that might have 2 or 3 scenes. So I'm gonna be busy. So I just started rewriting basically the second half of the book to change like a decently big element, and it's really awesome so far, and it's upping the tension a lot, and I'm loving it. very long time since I've spoken to you guys. So last time I spoke to you guys, I was working on adding new scenes and rewriting old scenes to the manuscript. Now, so basically what I did was I did all the heavy editing first. So I spent 2 weeks just doing rewrites and adding in new stuff. And then, so that just meant that I was hopping from like chapter to chapter. Like I would look at my outline, see where in the book I need to edit, go to that chapter and edit just that chapter, and then hop to the next chapter where I need to edit something. So then after all the big edits were done, which took about 2 weeks, I moved into re-editing the entire book. So that meant I started back with chapter 1 and slowly worked through the entire book to update it. And that is taking about another 2 weeks. So today's Thursday and tomorrow's Friday, and I didn't tell my editor I would have it to her on Friday, but I told myself I wanted to send it to her on Friday. Technically, it's not due to her until Monday, but I was like, I'm going to send it early. I'm going to be good. So yeah, that's where we're at. I am currently on chapter number 25. And all week this week, I've been like, I need to edit 4 chapters a day, 4 chapters a day. And I said that to myself last week as well. And last week I was only able to edit 2 chapters, 2 chapters, 2 chapters. I was editing so much of the book that a chapter would take an hour or more to edit, just 1 chapter. And I just didn't have the time in the day to do more than that. Well, I'm happy to say we are now past the saggy middle. And that's, I'm finding what the issue was the middle of my book I knew needed some spicing up, adding in some tension. So that's what I was spending so much time on. But now I'm getting towards the climax of the book, and the climax of the book is actually pretty strong right now. So I don't need to edit as much. There's just like a few tweaking here and there. So now I'm able to edit much faster, and it's not even 11 a.m. yet, and I've edited 4 chapters today. And I've set aside this entire day for editing, which makes me so happy. I've kind of cleared my schedule for this week, where I've made it that the work I need to do for cover design is minimal. Same with like YouTube stuff, and the book launch planner stuff is very minimal effort on my end, so I can put all my focus into this book, and it's paying off. So I do have a few notes for myself that I've been making like throughout the week. Like in chapter 12, I decided that I want to go back and re-edit chapter 12 to add one more like interesting thing, and then edit something really quick in another chapter. But I'm gonna do that once I finish the entire book. And yeah. Exciting day. I'm going through my beta reader feedback forms. I created a Google form for my author newsletter and sent it literally just through the newsletter because I didn't want it to go out to a bunch of people. I wanted it to be, you know, the people in my immediate circle, which is my newsletter. So the goal was not to get a bunch of applications. I got 28 applications, which is awesome. But I think I only want like definitely less than 10, but more than 5. That's all I know. Less than 10, but more than 5. So they filled it out. I didn't make the form the easiest form to fill out in the world. I made it so they would have to think as they filled it out, because I also want them to think as they're reading the book. If they can't think while they fill out the form, then they aren't going to think while they're reading the book, because I want feedback. This isn't them getting a book for free. This is them reading it for free, but then giving me feedback in return. So yeah, and right now I'm going through all of the applicants, and people that are green are people that I definitely want to take on. Yellow is maybe, and then I just delete people that are like, I don't think this is a good fit. So I'm trying to find people that I know would enjoy this genre of book, this type of storytelling. One question I asked was like, why do you think you'd be a good fit for this project? Because I want to see what exactly is drawing them to the book. Do they have personal experiences that kind of connect to the blurb that I gave them to read, and that sort of thing. And I also had a last thing where I was like, is there anything else you want me to know? Because anyone who puts extra effort to fill out this form kind of stands out to me. So as you can see, right here, there's a bit of longer paragraphs, and the people that like really filled it out, I was like, ooh, okay, you're obviously putting effort into filling out this form, so you'll probably put effort into giving me feedback as well. So I'm gonna sort through, choose my people, and email them right after this. Oh my god, I'm done. I'm done. I wrote the epilogue. I kind of really like the epilogue. I don't know. We'll see what people think. So now today's Friday, and I've literally done nothing but edit all week. I am going to send this manuscript today to my developmental editor. I don't know how well I did with vlogging. I guess I'll find out when I go to edit this footage to see how much of it makes sense, because I filmed it over the course of 4 weeks, and I can't remember what I filmed and what I did not film. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. I might vlog the beta reading process as well. I might not. I haven't really decided. I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. But if you would be interested in it, let me know, and I can then decide based off of that whether or not I will bother to vlog. So yeah, thanks for watching.